Glad that you have joined us again on this other episode of The Talk Show. A show that we hope will change the society by exposing some of the vices happening in the society today so that we can create with an aim of actually creating solutions to change and help people who are on the verge of falling down or even getting trapped in some of these vices. Today, our guest, Francis Muroki, has a story to tell. And of course, you may have come across some of his stories in the magazines and even the print media, but today he has the story live on The Talk Show. But just before we go there, let's have a look at his profile. Francis Peter Muroki is a senior citizen, 58 years old. He was married for 25 years and has 3 grown-up kids. He's pursuing his master's in development communication at Daystar. He also has a vast knowledge in media and communication and has worked in these fields including VOK, now KBC, and also worked in the Catholic Secretariat in the Communication Department and Kenya Times, where he actually met his wife. He's a staunch Catholic and has also worked in the Brazilian Consolata Seminary. Welcome back to the show, Peter Francis. Welcome and glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Asante sana. Asante sana. You know, Peter, I have read your stories and I have heard of your story, but I know that your story will help some other people who are watching, and I don't know where to even start. Maybe you should be the one even to direct me here. You were married. It should be like 30 years by today.
Yes, yeah.
And you no longer have that family.
Correct.
Maybe you could start first of all by telling us, how was it when you were even meeting your wife and even growing your kids?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's my pleasure to be with you. It's my pleasure to share this story. Let's begin where it all started.
Yes.
December 6th, 1986, Holy Family Basilica, packed to capacity, full. And that was the day of my wedding.
1986.
Yes, December 6th, 1986. Full capacity. The church was full, big. And it was not just full with the friends and relatives and all that. The mass itself was concelebrated by 35 priests. 35 priests concelebrating the wedding mass.
That was huge.
Yeah, because I had a lot of friends. I had grown up in the seminary. So most of my previous classmates were already priests. They came to join me in my wedding. It was big, huge. And that's not all. On the wedding day, we received a message signed by Pope John Paul II, congratulating me and my wife-to-be on the wedding.
That just doesn't happen to anyone.
It doesn't happen. It's not easy. And not only that, the wedding rings that we wore on that day of the wedding came from the Vatican, blessed by the Pope himself.
Very special.
And he signed the message and said, the Holy Father imparts his apostolic blessings to Mr. and Mrs. mentioned the names, and he says, this is my pledge for your heavenly blessings, and signed the pledge.
Wow.
It was great.
Beautiful wedding.
It was great. Then, of course, apart from that, the bishops, the Catholic bishops of Kenya at that time, they were my friends, they sent messages of congratulations. Nearly all the bishops, the late Bishop Kirema, Bishop John Jenga, all Cardinal Tunga were my friends. They sent messages of congratulations. And we had a wonderful wedding, my brother. Wonderful. By the way, it was put in the newspapers. And that was not easy. It was put on KBC television. It was only one radio station.
And we didn't have wedding shows then.
Yeah, couldn't. But it appeared on television because this was, and we had a wonderful wedding.
Wow.
And as they say, happy ever after. And that was the beginning of great things. After the wedding, we went for our honeymoon.
You had a happy time.
We had a wonderful time. My children were born in quick succession.
How many
I had
children?
3 children. They were born, one was born in 1987, the other one was born in 1988, the other one was born in 1990.
Wow.
And all these children were born at Nairobi Hospital. Those days, it was an expensive thing. I brought my family in the most determined, I was determined to bring up.
You're a determined father.
Because even to have children delivered at Nairobi Hospital, and then identifying the pediatrician at that level, because the doctor that I had was one of the best pediatricians. They said he was the best in the sub-Saharan region at that time.
Raising your kids with
Yes,
the best
because
that you
I
have.
raised them in the best. After they were born in Nairobi Hospital, I took them to the best schools. My children went to Consolata School those days when it was the most expensive school in Nairobi. My children went to the best private schools, both primary and secondary. I took my children, even when they went to secondary schools, my children did not study in the local schools. I took them far away. Took the one in in Meru, in Kisumu. Not that I did not have schools in Nairobi, but I selected the schools that I wanted my children to go to. Because I wanted them to be formed, not just in the academics, but even in the faith. So I took them to Catholic schools.
Wow.
I visited them religiously. I went to visit them, and my children were having great fun.
So they grew with the values of
They grew
Christianity.
with the values, and they were very beautiful children. These are my 3 children at that time. This is when they were young, very young, but I brought them. You can see these children are not hungry. These children are. By the way, I even used to go to Marikiti. If you know, men never go to Marikiti.
No.
I used to go to Marikiti to shop for the fruits and vegetables for my children.
And
This is now when they were a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
They had escorted me to the airport one day. I was moving. I have traveled a lot abroad, so they took me, and this is the children in one of their schools.
Wow.
But I brought them with a lot of passion, my friend.
And they look healthy.
They are strong.
They
They're
look
strong.
healthy.
I used to grind to kusiaga, you know, vegetables and all that, and I hold my children and feed them. Things that men don't do.
Yeah.
I know how to change napkins.
Those days,
yes,
1986.
I could
You
change
don't
napkins.
do that.
Yes, you could. But I brought my children the best way I knew how. So we went on very well, and we had a lovely marriage. Beautiful, beautiful.
Wow.
And I made sure that my children had the best. I drove them to school. I collected them from school.
But those days, having a car wasn't a small thing.
It was not easy.
It
It was not easy. I had a car. I have always had a car from day one. Now I don't have a car because I lost everything. I'll talk about that later. When my wife left my house, she moved away with 2 cars, and they were registered in her name because everything I bought was registered jointly. So I lost everything. We will get that in a moment.
Yes, Francis.
But you
now,
can see
fact,
we had a wonderful
very
time
beautiful.
together. We had a wonderful time together.
Yeah.
In 2000, this is Parents Magazine
Yes, Parents
of
Magazine.
September 2004.
2004.
Yes, and this magazine was celebrating their 18th anniversary. And so we were also celebrating our 18th wedding anniversary, because when the first Parents Magazine appeared in July 1987, we bought that magazine. I wrote a story that when me and my wife, when we were planning for our wedding, we came across a poster advertising a magazine called Parents. That's what we saw. Then it sounded interesting, and when the maiden copy hit the streets in July, we bought it. And from that day, we continued buying the Parents Magazine. If you look at this story, it says, as we celebrate our 18th wedding anniversary, we thank God for bringing us this far. And as we pray to God to grant us good health and prosperity, we pray too for Parents Magazine, the editor and all that, and then we say that we wish them all the best.
Wow.
My son,
18 years.
when he was born, he won this magazine used to have the baby of the month. So at one time my child was baby
Featured.
of the month.
Wow.
He was featured here. He was featured here. And in fact, if you look and say that a few of the children are also ardent readers of the magazine because they used to read.
Yes,
See?
I can see.
You can say that.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Your sister 16 was 16.
Yes,
the
one
other
was 16, the other one was 14.
They're great readers of
They are
the
great
parents.
readers of. So we had a wonderful marriage.
Amazing.
I mean,
Featured in the
yeah,
Parents
yeah,
Magazine
yeah.
as a sample.
Then
as an example.
we bought property. We bought a property. We moved out of the city. We put up a beautiful house where we moved out of the city. We bought property there. And we had a wonderful marriage. I mean, I couldn't ask for more. We
So
used to go to church
time,
together.
By the time you were celebrating the 18th year anniversary,
Yes.
all was well.
It was wonderful. We were having the great fun. Well, the children were already getting grown up. They were now teenagers. We talked a lot. We loved each other. We used to go to church together. We used to pray together.
Wow.
Even going to mass together. By the way, even when we were going to mass together with my wife, we used to sit at a specific place
next to each other.
Yes, so that even if you came late even if we came late and somebody was sitting at a place where we sit,
That's not your corner.
yeah, they would walk away because they know that's where we sit, and would hug each other, would do all that, and things went on quite well.
Perfect
we had,
example.
Yes,
Perfect
we had
example.
vehicles, we had property, we bought cars. At one time, we even ran a matatu business. We had 3 Nissan matatus.
Wow.
Yeah.
So all was well. Now,
So
Francis,
this went
you
on
know,
well.
I mean, the picture is well painted.
Yeah.
What happened? What was the genesis of this? What happened? What did you observe that brought all this?
Good story. Because every time I talk about it, people say, "Did you see it coming?" You must have seen it
It
coming.
doesn't look like you could have
Yes, I mean, it wasn't coming.
Well,
It
mine
wasn't
is young.
coming.
Yeah.
Because this happened overnight. I lost my job in 2009. I was working with a church organization, and I lost my job. And my wife started changing her attitude towards me.
Why was she in a job?
Yes. Maybe I should also begin before then, I had got a job for her twice, 2 different organizations for her.
Yes.
She was working the one, then she lost a job. Then I got a job for another organization, and she went working there. Then I took her to a college where she studied some profession, and she got a job in line with that new profession, which was making her earn a lot of money. So when she got the new job, she was earning a lot of money. And unfortunately, when I lost my job in 2009, December 2009, she was already at the highest level of her earnings. So she told me, "You have no job, you have no money, you are useless. I don't need you."
That's how she tells you that?
Yeah, she said, "I don't need you."
That was after how long? After you lost the job?
Exactly 1 year later, 12 months down the line, she said, "You have no job, you have no money, you are useless. I don't need you." But even when she told me those words, I mean, we had been married for 25 years, so I didn't think that means she was going to move out. Honestly.
Why would she say that? Is it that you were just always...
And I was not that I was not even providing. But she had already started telling the children, "Look, your father doesn't have money. Your father doesn't love you. He's not even providing for you." But you see, when you take the marriage vows, when we say for better, for worse, in richness and in poverty, and I'm not saying that people should not work, but situations come which you have no control of.
For better or for worse?
Yeah, and that's why the church says for better, for worse. Because the church anticipates that everything will not be, there will be gloom. There are situations where...
Situations may come.
Yeah. So when my wife told me, "You have no money, you're useless," I said, "My God, where is this coming from?"
And did you say she even started telling the children?
Then she was already telling the children, "Look, your father is useless. He can't help you. He has no money." So my children also developed a hatred for me. So one day, and this is the story. One day, my children came into the house in the evening, and when I opened the door, my son started abusing me, things that you have never heard.
How old was your son then?
My son, that time, he was 26 or 27. He was already at the university. By the way, all of them, they were at the university that time. This was in 2010.
So he just...
Yeah. I opened the door, and when he popped in, they came late, by the way. My wife and the 3 children came late in the evening, and I was all alone in the house. But I learned later that they had gone for a meeting. Because, why do I say they had gone for a meeting? Because the things that they started doing, they looked like they had been planned. My son moved in and said, "We mjinga wewe, kehege." In Kikuyu, you call somebody kehe, it means you are uncircumcised.
That's the ultimate insult.
That's the ultimate insult, you are right. How do you challenge your father's sexuality? This is the man who brought you to the world. And my son started calling me names. He told me I sleep with men. He told me I am useless. He said, "Wewe ni mjinga, wewe ni mshenzi." Then
Was he drunk or something?
No! He was sober. Then I didn't know what is all this. Then the other son, my last born son, who was at that time also, he was 22. He was born 1990. He started abusing me also. Then the mother came in and they now locked the door. And my son pulled a chair and went to the door and said, jaribu utoke hapa, jaribu watoke hapa. Yes, he told me jaribu utoke hapa. Then he said, leo,
what do they want to do, attack you
leo
or what?
hapa hautatoboa. He told me that. I sat down, and my brother, for the next 7 hours, from 9 o'clock in the evening until 4 a.m. in the morning, I was humiliated to the core by the people who are the most intimate to me, my 3 children and their mother. They called me names. They abused me. They provoked me. And I sat there, not a word. I listened to my children abuse me. They were calling me names. My son said, sisi hatutakuita daddy. Sisi hatutakuita sisi hata usiwahi kusema unatujua. In fact, my son took the remote, switched off the TV and said, hata ukituona kwa TV, usiwahi kusema unatujua. You are useless. Wewe mjinga.
Oh my.
My daughter said, you are nothing but a sperm donor. Who are you? Wewe ni nini?
She said those words.
Yes. My son said, wewe unalala na wanaume. You sleep with men. My brother, the whole idea was to provoke me so that we could fight.
So you could fight.
But God spoke to me, and I thank God. Because I didn't know the scheme. The scheme was to provoke me so that we fight, because they had already planned that tomorrow they are moving out.
Yes.
So how do you move out from a house where there is no provocation and you want to move out? You must create a scenario that is violence so that when you move, you will tell the society, tulifukuzwa, tulipigwa.
Yes. Yes, that is good.
That was the idea.
That's a good strategy.
But somehow, me, I did not answer back. My children provoked me. They did all sorts of things, but I did not answer back.
You just looked.
I just looked at them. I listened to them abuse me. Their mother could say this. You know, the whole thing was choreographed. I could see it was planned. Because this one could stop saying, then the other one would pick up.
Picks up.
Yes, the other one would stop, the other one would pick up. Until
The 3 children.
Yes, the 3 children and the mother. So they abused me, they called me anything you can think of. And then eventually they told me, sisi hatutakuhitaji katika maisha yetu, usiwahi kusema wewe unatujua, and you are useless, you are nothing. Wewe ni nini mbele ya wanaume? That's what they told me.
Okay, that's big. Francis,
So they moved out.
How did you proceed on? How are the next days?
Now, very interesting, because at about 4:30 a.m. after they stopped abusing me, it was already morning.
4:30.
Yes, they abused me until 4:30 in the morning. I went to my bedroom, I put on my shoes, and I walked out. And I went straight to the basilica, straight to the Holy Family Basilica. And I spent the whole day there praying and asking God to give me courage. But I didn't know that I'm moving out. I didn't know. But I only put on the shoes. I left my house. I left my compound. I took a matatu. There were cars. I didn't drive. I went to the church and I spent the day. When I came back in the evening, right from the gate, I could see the house is empty. Right from the gate, I could see there are no curtains.
They had taken everything.
They had taken everything. They brought 2 lorries. They packed everything. They even hired external labor to help them dismantle the things in the house. I mean, investment of 25 years, my brother. What is not in that house?
That's a lot. That's a lot.
What is not in that house? The best beds you can think of. The best carpets you can think of. My sofa set were all imported from Turkey. My bed was bought from Dubai, because I used to travel to Dubai. My wardrobes was from Malaysia.
And so
I had a big TV that had been given to me after I had won a media award in Europe, and one of the things that they gave me was a TV that was not even found in Kenya. They took everything. The house was empty, my brother. They even removed the wiring. They removed the plumbings.
wiring.
Yes, stima ile ya juu ya wiring ya juu. They removed everything. They even disconnected the main supply. So when I came to the house, I moved from one room to another. One room to another. There was nothing except my clothes that were left on the floor.
Did they want to just destroy you completely?
They had already
With
destroyed
nothing?
me. In fact, I just locked the door and I went to the nearest lodging and I slept. I didn't sleep, but even when I went to book the room, 6 o'clock, the girl was asking me, mzee, kwani unataka kulala saa hii? Because, so I slept. The following day, which was on a Sunday, I went back to the house, and that is when the reality dawned on me that really,
This has happened.
yeah, this has happened. And my wife of 25 years, a marriage of 25 years, 3 grown-up children at university, all my investment in terms of material, in terms of my even dignity as a father, Everything was destroyed, and I didn't know where to begin. I mean, you can go into a depression.
Wow. Francis, I think we want to catch up with this story because this is moving, this is big. It doesn't happen anywhere anyhow. We want to take a short break and then we'll be right back to discuss more of that. This is the talk show. We take a short break. We don't want to even say much. We'll be right back in a moment. Welcome back to the talk, and today Peter Francis Muroki is sharing his story of losing a family, a fortune, 25 years of marriage, and one day you wake up, nothing is there. Francis, where we picked up from, nothing in the house, all gone, and you're praying in the church. Did you suffer, depression? Normally people go through such things.
That was the next thing. The next thing after experience, you see, 25 years of marriage is half of your life. You've lived with this family, you've lived with the children, you have seen them grow. You are used to coming home and there's somebody to receive you in the house. You come home and there is a noise in the house, there's somebody playing with the TV, there's somebody shouting. And now the whole thing is quiet.
It's gone.
The next thing for you is to suffer depression. Wow. And in fact, I was heading there, but I thank God I didn't get there. Oh. I thought that maybe now I should bury my sorrow in drinking, and I thought I should begin drinking. By the way, I have never drank beer in my life. All my life, and I'm a media person. And there is a lot of beer available, I didn't drink beer. So I thought I should go, maybe I should now, what do? I take beer. Then a friend of mine told me, if you begin taking beer at this point, because of what you're experiencing, you will die.
You'll die, definitely.
People don't drink beer because they want to. People drink beer because they are celebrating, because they are happy. You're not happy. So I thought that for me was good. I didn't go to beer, but I tried to take courage. But you know why? For me, I did not cause the marriage to break. It's not me. I did not cause that marriage to break. First of all, I was in marriage forever.
Yes.
I knew this is forever. My mother used to tell us that when she got married, she was saying, this is the place where they will shave for me my white hair. My white hair will be shaved here. Because it means
in marriage.
So
You're
even
forever
for me,
to stay.
I knew it was forever. So when my wife left me, and she left me not because I was unfaithful, not because of infidelity, which are the causes of divorce, not because I was abusing her physically or otherwise, not because it's because I had no money. That's all. And she told me in her own terms, she said, you have no money, you have no job, I don't need you. So I consoled myself that it's not me who contributed to the breakage of my marriage. And these are things I have no control. Yeah. My brother, if you have no money, you have no control. It's not, God gives, and it's God who provides.
True.
And when God provides, He has given you, He has not given me. There is nothing I have given God so that God could deny me. There's nothing you gave God so that God could give you what you have. So I said, my God, please give me the courage to go through this. Because you know me deep inside. You know, I was committed to this marriage. I was deep in it. Now it has collapsed because I don't have money. Because I don't have a job.
It's amazing that you're here and you're strong and at least you can speak about this. Sure. But in your story, when I read, they didn't leave you alone even after that.
Now, that's another thing. You see, I thought that after my wife has gone, then I'll pick up pieces and begin. You know, there was nothing in the house, not even a copy of, not even a stool. So there is something else that I didn't mention to you, that my mother collapsed and died the day she learned that my wife has left me. Oh. Now that was another difficult time for me. I kept that story away from my mother for a week. I didn't tell her. But my mother kept on calling my younger brother and saying, please ask Peter, my mother calls me Peter, please tell Peter to call me because I think there's something that is not good. I can feel it. I said, Mother, I'm fine. She said, no, you're not fine. Then one day, I called her and I told her, Mom, you know what? It is true. I have no wife, I have no family. My mother immediately collapsed and died. Simple. It ended there.
Double tragedy.
Yes, it was double tragedy. So, do you know, after the funeral of my mother, I went into her house and picked things to use in the house. Even blankets. I'm sleeping on the bed sheets of my mother. Even plates and cups and sahani and vikombe, everything, because nothing was left. So after that, the most unfortunate thing is that 1 year down the line, my wife served me with court papers and she filed for divorce. Now that devastated me. I didn't expect that. You see, if you are a Catholic Christian, you know that the Catholic doctrine does not talk about divorce. It does not exist. And you can understand why. Because the sacrament of matrimony is indelible. Yeah,
Permanent.
it's permanent. Even if somebody wants to move out, and I have no problem with my wife moving out. I mean, nobody can force you to stay together. But when she moved to court, now that struck me. She was asking for divorce, to ask the court to cancel marriage that was given in church. You know, it's like telling me to remove my name, Francis, from my identity. Because marriage is a sacrament.
Yes.
You are given that by the church. Nobody can take it. The government can take the marriage certificate. But the matrimony is a sacrament that is given to you by the church. And she is a Catholic. And everybody who knows what marriage is, that's why people go to the church and they celebrate the marriage.
Yes.
So I was served with the court proceedings. She began by serving me with a petition on divorce. I read it through and I said, I am not going to object it. I left it going. But in the divorce proceedings, my children had also been dragged to court and they signed affidavits to deny me. So as we talk, I don't even have children because legally they have signed affidavits to denounce my fatherhood. So not only did my wife take the material, but even my own dignity as a father, even my own dignity as a parent has been taken away. Because my children, the three of them, have signed affidavits in court.
Under oath.
Under oath to deny me. They said they say he has never done anything for them. We don't know him. He never paid our fees. And I mean, surely, how do you involve children in a divorce proceedings? Because the marriage is between husband and wife. It's between the two.
Yes.
But the children did not choose to be born by you. But unfortunately, in my case, my wife dragged the children to court. They have signed. So now it's even more complicated. After that, she filed 4 other cases.
4?
Yes. She filed for division of matrimonial property. She filed me to pay her millions because she claims that she's the one who has maintained me ever since we got married. Yes. And not even that. She has even stated in the court documents, this is laughable. Sometimes I laugh instead of getting angry.
Yes.
She says that during the entire subsistence of the marriage, this respondent, because they now call me respondent, the respondent has never been employed. Now that is laughable. That's laughable. Because even me and my wife, we met in a certain company where we were working in 1985.
Okay.
But she has said that this man has never been employed.
And it has been signed in.
Yes. She has asked me to pay her lots of money, including the dress she bought for my mother during the wedding. She bought a kitenge dress.
She has gone all the way.
Yes, she has gone all the way. She says that I have paid for. Then she has also filed a case asking the court to evict me from my house. The same house where she moved out and carried everything. She now wants me to be out, and she wants that property to be sold because she says that the property solely, she has used the word solely, belongs to her. There's no contribution from my part.
What have you done now?
Now, you know, it is laughable because surely in a marriage situation, even if assuming you did not contribute anything financial,
yes,
but you created the environment in which that marriage survived. That period, 25 years is not a short while.
That's a lot of time.
Are you saying that I even never got 5 shillings from a friend and then I bought sugar in the house or bought something for the children? How can you say that this guy?
Or a spoon or something.
Yes. Oh, no, yeah. So she has said that I should be evicted from my house. And another thing is that the land that was given to me by my mother as inheritance, she wants that shared halfway. Now, I don't understand.
I mean, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And many other things. So the cases are in court. And you know what? I am not fighting back. I'm not fighting back. I mean, how do you fight back?
But she will take it. She will take everything.
She has. akitaka
She'll
achukue.
take the house and the land as well.
Yes, and the children. By the way, if somebody has taken even your own children, the children that you brought to this land, to this world, what else is remaining for you?
Why are you not fighting back, Francis?
Because there are many reasons. First of all, she has a lot of money. She's using a lot of money she's paying lawyers. I don't have the financial capacity. I don't have money. I don't have a job. Number two, in the Catholic Church, there is no divorce. So even if she has been granted divorce, me, I don't recognize
I still hold on to it.
Yeah. And the other thing is that this was my wife. This was my family. Now, am I going to stand in court and tell the judge or wherever, I brought these children up. Then my son will standing there and will start us. I'm not going to fight back.
You don't want such situation.
I don't want that situation. By the way, I spoke to a lawyer and he told me divorce cases are very dirty. They are very dirty.
And the story.
So I don't want to go there. So I shared my story with Parents Magazine, the same Parents Magazine that was celebrating my anniversary. I shared the story with them.
Lonely
they carried
and
this story in January 2013.
2013.
Yeah, lonely and dejected, the pain of losing a family. I know the pain of losing a family. The family that I brought with love, with commitment, with devotion. I don't have a family anymore. And that's my story. You can read it. It has appeared in Parents Magazine.
The same magazine that featured your
the same
happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. The same magazine that featured my baby of the month,
Yes,
my
baby
son.
of the month.
Yes, we were even given gifts.
Now carries a sad story.
Now carried the sad story. Right. So that's it, and they carried that story. And then I have a story on the Pope. When the recent visit of the Pope, I wrote.
You wrote to the Pope.
Yes, I wrote a letter to the Pope. You can see this: journalist writes to the Pope over his marital stress. Now,
because I think this is because you say in the Catholic, divorce no.
Yeah, because the Catholic doctrine, first of all, the Catholic doctrine does not advocate for divorce.
Yes.
And as I said before, it's because the marriage is forever, is a holy matrimony. It's supposed, marriage is ordained by God. And God ordained marriage so that, for many reasons. So you cannot now begin thinking about divorce. But for me, the reason why I wrote to the Holy Father is because I said now, this is what my church teaches, that once you are divorced, you cannot even be elected a member of the parish choir. You can't. You are ostracized. You are one step short of excommunication. You're not recognized. The church doesn't value you anymore. And I have experienced that. Let me tell you, even my own friends, the people whom we used to worship together, the people whom we used to fellowship together, the people whom we used to visit each other, they no longer talk to me. They no longer visit me. Even my own neighbors don't talk to me.
But that's not Christianity.
I know, this is it. This is it. And this is what the church does. That even when you are divorced, the church does not, you cannot go out for sacraments, you cannot receive sacraments, you cannot participate in any activity of the church. So I told the Pope, look, in my case, it's not me who left my marriage. I protected my marriage. I fought for my marriage. Now, so the other party has decided to break the covenant. Where do you place me? Where does the church place me? Fortunately, Pope Francis had called a synod of bishops and cardinals in 2014 to discuss this issue. Yes, discuss the issue of divorce and the separated in the church. Because he feels that these people belong to us. They are our Christians.
They're still part of us.
We should be able to bring them together and not to throw them away. So there was a synod in Rome in October 2014 in which they were discussing these issues. Then the Pope comes to Kenya in November 2015. I said, this is the best time. So I wrote a letter to the Pope and I said, we are here as Christians, as people who need to be listened to. Don't throw us away. Don't excommunicate us. And there are many people in the world who have been separated or who are divorced. So the church should be able to accommodate
Accommodate
these
those people.
and help them. Even the Bible says, I was hungry, I was in prison, I didn't have clothes, and you provided. And they say, Jesus will ask, when were you in that situation and I didn't provide? When were you in prison? When were you? And then he say, as long as you did this to the least of my brothers, you did this to me. But that's not what the church is doing to us. The church, once you are divorced, you're gone.
You're like an outcast.
Yes, you're like an outcast. You are ostracized. You are excommunicated.
Okay, Francis, now, I wish we had all the time to really go to the details because I know you're sieving a lot of things. What's the way forward? You have all these cases. You might be thrown out of your house
Yes.
anytime. You don't even know when. You're not fighting back.
Yes.
Have you communicated with your kids? Have you ever come across them at any point? Have they said a word?
No, they haven't. My son assaulted me. My eldest son assaulted me in town 1 year after they had left. We met in town, and my son hit me. He started slapping me.
In
yes,
town?
yes, and he beat me. In fact, he hit me until I was hospitalized. And when I reported the matter to the police, and the boy was arrested, they came and did whatever they did, and the boy was released. And he told me, hakuna mahali naweza kutupeleka. Sisi tuko na pesa. And it's true. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of money. That's why they can do all these things. Now, the way forward, you see, marriage is the society.
Is a society.
When the society is not together, anything else will go away. If you look at the research that has been conducted, nearly more than half of the people who are in prison, for example, they have come from broken families. Single parents.
Families, yes.
Societies that have disintegrated is because the families are not together. So you need the family unit together. Everything rotates around the family. I keep on asking myself, if my children, I don't know where they are, I have never seen them.
Yes.
5 years today, this is exactly 5 years. If my children want to get married today, what will my daughter do to the mother? What will she tell the mother? Ati mami nataka kuolewa? How will my daughter tell the mother that she wants to get married when the mother herself did not live in that marriage?
Culturally, you should be the one.
Yes. If somebody if you're telling somebody to come to the house and you are moving out of that house, then how do you encourage somebody? The cultural aspect of marriage, for example, my daughter would want me to be the one to escort her, even to discuss negotiations of dowry and all that.
And everything, yes.
Because the daughter is paid dowry according to the one that was paid for her mother. That's the tradition. The son will pay dowry according to what the father paid dowry for the mother. So how will these children begin? Where will they be?
And by the way, just to refer to how you started it, what is the perception of your daughter towards marriage now that she saw that? Now
Yeah, that's the big. I don't even know whether she'll get married. And this is the truth of the matter, that you teach the society by the things you do. You may not even speak, but when you do something, people pick. Our children pick what we do. They'll pick 30% of what we tell them, but 70% of
what they're seeing.
What they are seeing. Now, how will my daughter live in a marriage when she gets married and the husband doesn't have money?
She goes with the perception anything can happen.
Yeah, and she'll go away. That means that's what she'll do. So that's the society. That's what we are telling them. That's what we are telling the children, that if once you have your husband doesn't have money, walk out. You're saying, now if the wife has demonized me as the father, because this is what she has done. That's why the children, I say that my children have been radicalized, because they have changed them. Now, what will my daughter tell her children about their father, her husband? Because the mother did what she did to me. So this girl will also do the same to the husband. And the sons, what will my sons, how will they also treat their wives?
And by the way, Francis, just to bring this in, do you know there some of our radio stations actually just saying, no money, no marriage. They're encouraging such things. Yeah,
but the radios are joking. These people, you cannot, institute of marriage is so deep that it cannot be discussed on airwaves as if you are laughing the matter. I mean, if I had a problem with my wife, surely I won't go to the radio to ask them to solve it for me.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that.
And by the way, marriage is a serious institution.
Yeah.
So with the discussions on radio and all that, it doesn't help.
Let me throw this in. What if your kids today woke up and said they want to talk to you? Maybe something has happened in them and they want to come and seek mercy, would you listen to them?
It's a good question that I have been asked many times. And honestly, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer because I brought up these children in the best way I know how.
Yeah.
I devoted myself to them in every way. They reached a point where today I am told they are all working. They are working. Then they are. I don't. They told me sisi hatutakuhitaji. Sisi hatutakuhitaji katika maisha yetu. I know that may not apply, but it's a long story. We'll have to begin from
But at least you would be willing to listen to them.
I mean, these are my children. These are my children. These are my children. The fact that the mother left me because I don't have money. The fact that these children abused me, my son assaulted me. I mean, these are my children.
That's a father's heart. Now, there are people watching.
Yeah.
And they're saying, this is such a story.
Yeah.
Do you have an advice for the man, the woman, and even the children? Is there something you can tell? You can tell them in a minute.
In a minute, first of all, be very careful. In a marriage, be very careful. Be very careful. And I might say this in a light note, but take it from me. For the young people, whatever you buy in the house, please keep that receipt. And if you pay school fees or pay medical bills written in the name of the child, say also paid in by.
Paid in by.
Yes, because at one time you may need those things.
And
you may need to
don't
prove.
Have them now.
I don't have them because I didn't have any of those. By the way, when my wife left me, she carried even all the documentations, the title deeds, the car log books, and everything. So please, and this is on a lighter note.
Take note.
Yeah, keep those things.
Okay.
But also, I think you need to be very careful. You need to be very careful. Look at all aspects. And I'm not saying that you be suspicious, but anything could happen. Every time I bought property, I wrote it in the joint names. Because for me, I was in marriage.
This is marriage.
Now she carried everything and she moved away. And she's asking the court to take everything and give it to her. I would say this. It's good to do everything you can for your family. Give your best. Don't reserve anything. But also be very careful. And monitor every situation. By the way, children belong to the mother. Let me tell you, you may think you are bringing up your children, but those children belong to the mother. The mother is very powerful. The mother can change the children's perspective, can influence them. Yes.
Wow.
In this African society, we say that children belong to their father. But that is only superficially. Deep inside, the children belong to the mother. So you need to cultivate a very strong relationship between you and your children.
Yeah.
So that even if anything happened, and God forbid, those children should not beat you up like they did on my case. I was beaten by my son. I was hospitalized. Now, the other thing I would say is that as you develop virtues and values of marriage, let God come into your lives. Let God perfectly play the role of making that marriage work. Because when people have money and people have property, they forget God. I am telling you, my wife has a lot of money. She was a Christian, but I don't know whether God still exists in her mind. With all due respect. The young people especially, God has no role in their marriage. So what I'm saying is that you need to bring in God. You need also to be observant and don't just sleep there and stay in a comfort zone. Because I was in a comfort zone. I thought I was married. I thought I was happy. Kumbe somebody else was working things against me. Be very observant.
Francis, my goodness. You know, the fact that you still say that, your wife.
Yes.
Means there's hope. I hope so. Just saying. We want to end the show, Francis.
Oh.
And this is much advice that you've given to us and the people who are watching. And of course, you have already given the signs that, listen, we need to be careful. And I don't know, because what I also learned is, should people do some very thorough work before they get to know the partner they're married? Or
Good. That's a very good question. In fact, when somebody asked me, what should I do? I said the first thing you must do, find out whether the person you are marrying is a human being. I know that is powerful. What does that mean? Find out whether she's a human being. Because, you see, the kind of things that my wife has done to me are not human. They are not human. You don't do that to a human being. You can move away, you can do things, but my brother, when you are already fallen, there are things you cannot do. Now, if somebody has no human feelings, that person can't do anything. Please find out that that person is a human being. I'm a master's student, and I know I'm doing a research. You must develop your research tools, yes? In the marriage, to find out whether that person is human, you must develop your research tools. Because you could be marrying somebody who is not a human being, has no human feelings.
Francis, thank you so much for your story. Thank you so much for your story. My goodness, time has really gone, but we had to get it. And Francis has come out and spoken to us and told us, listen, watch all the red lights.
Yes.
All the flags that, that will tell you, listen, and take care. Do your research. Get to know who you're getting married to. All those things. You don't want to go through the same thing. As I always say, experience is the best teacher, but you don't have to go through it. Francis has gone through it and has wonders in advance. The society, we want to blame it and all those things, but we want to expose them and say, listen, there could be solutions. And Francis has shared his heart out. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, you can always share your views